Hiya Everybrony, it's James the Pony Theorist with episode 3 of Granger, Bloom and Gloom, with my special guest, Sweetie Bloom. Well, first off, we're starting with the song, that itty bitty little song that Applejack sings to Apple Bloom to kind of calm her down. Doesn't work. Sweetie, what do you think?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I'm a huge Applejack fan, and I'm a big fan of, lullabies and, short and effective songs like that, and I just thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I loved it too, and you know what? I was mentioning this might become a drinking game, but it's official now! We have 3 songs in a row that progress the plot ever so slightly, and I'm happy. That means me and Silverquill can start our drinking game.
Yay!
There is one other thing I'd like to bring up. This song, I'm expecting people in the fandom to make an extended version.
Yeah.
Musicians of the fandom.
Work on it.
Do stuff. Yes. As for our grades, I'd give it a C, because it wasn't too long. It was fairly simple, but it got the job done. How about you, sweetie?
Simple but effective. I think it did what it needed to do, and best horse, and one of my favorite styles of song, so yeah, I give it an A.
Ooh. Okay, I'll hold you up to that. Well, my old friend Comedy. What do you have for us this week? Sweetie, what were some of your favourite moments of, some of your favourite comedic bits from this episode?
Well, I think actually, my favorite comedic bits were probably, basically the only time that Big Mac can ever get any lines is in a dream sequence, apparently.
Indeed.
But I think my favorite moment is actually something that I was very lucky to catch, because I'm one of those weirdly who sometimes I look at the background rather than what the foreground, and I did catch that somewhere in like the 4th dream sequence, I think, when the rooster crowed to indicate morning, Pinkie Pie in a chicken costume floated by the window, carried by balloons for reasons. I'm not sure if to blame the fact that it was a dream or the fact that it's Pinkie Pie or both. But I did think that was funny, and that it was a very subtle joke. You had to catch it. It wasn't something thrown in your face.
I didn't catch it, and because she was carried along with balloons, that leads into my perfect thing, the balloon animal figure of Rainbow Dash. I 100% blame Party Favor for all of this. It's all his fault.
Well, they were normal balloons, not balloon animals. But yeah, sure, blame Party Favor. Why not? New hashtag.
Party Favor is my husbando.
Ah, I see. I thought that was Tony Pony.
No. He's my Tony Pony waifu. Oh god, that's gonna be the L!
I have tricked him into saying that in his video. Yay! It is now public.
Anyway.
I ship it! Oh, speaking of shipping, that was another thing. A nice moment of comedy I remembered was during Sweetie Belle's dream. You know, everyone gave her a 0 except for Rarity, who still gave her the +1 "you're my sister" modifier, but, it didn't help her much.
The obligatory +1 modifier to family.
Exactly.
Speaking of some of the dreams, because the entire episode was basically dreams, once again, Apple Bloom's Twittermite ninja skills, and I find it funny because of the fact that, okay, this is obviously not her, this is obviously a dream, because we've never seen her bounce around like that ever.
Yeah, if that had actually been her cutie mark, the fandom would have raged.
No, it wouldn't have raged. All the CMC fans would have imploded. And we're going like, no! All our headcanons! Why?
Every single... Because I betcha that wasn't in anyone's headcanon for what her talent was. Everyone's like, I think she's a carpenter. I think she'll do potions. I think she'll, do things with apples. I think she'll be She'll be a
Pest pony.
pest pony. She'll be a pest pony. What?
She will never be a pest pony, but she will be a best pony.
These are the jokes, people.
These are the jokes you come to see. My terrible, terrible jokes. You know what? There is one thing we are massively, massively overlooking. The fact that the voice actors for Big Mac and Applejack and Granny Smith all swap around in that final dream sequence with where Sweetie Bloom's cutie mark was a dolphin.
Yes, a little dirt-eyed dolphin.
That there is already art of her with that cutie mark riding a dolphin.
Of course. Dolphins in dreams, I swear. Every time.
I know, it's a thing. When her cutie mark was changing every time she turned, when it became her face and it winked.
It was her face. Yeah, that was funny.
It was her face and it winked, and I was like, oh, that's clever, that's funny. Because the fandom has done that before. It's her cutie mark was her looking at her cutie mark, looking at her cutie mark, looking at her cutie mark. That is one of my favorite ones.
Her special talent is looking for her cutie mark.
My other favorite piece of fan art when it comes to Apple Bloom and her cutie mark is actually the missing image little picture.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh no, that wasn't in the episode, but that's done by the fandom.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, I didn't see that.
Yeah. More Twitter-related references with the Twittermites.
Get it? That's what haters are like.
Okay, for my grades, I'm gonna give this a B because it didn't make me laugh as much as previous episodes, but it still got the job done.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a B too, just cause it wasn't a very comedy-heavy episode, but it did get one decent laugh out of me, which was the Pinkie Pie and Chicken bit. But I've never been too big on the comedy that MLP gives us unless it's really, really good. It really only had one really, really good joke.
So you could say we gave it 2B or not 2B?
Boo. Sit in the corner.
And this is why you come to my channel for the terrible, terrible puns. Next up, we've got animation. So, in this episode, we had a bunch of awesome animation scenes from Luna's introduction right near the end. That was amazing. Her intros are getting more and more elaborate and cool. Sweetie?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the animation was as its usual stellar, and of course, Luna for some reason is just always amazing for experimentation in great animation. You know, her entrance was very like, Jesus? Oh no, wait, Luna, same difference. You know, and then her moving of the moon was beautiful, and the dreamscape is always a great place for them to kind of experiment with gorgeous animation, and it always goes well, or at least it has so far.
Yeah, it always has. The other thing in the dreamscape, we get something really awesome. The rift becomes canon!
Oh yes, the rift hallway with all the doors. Somehow I knew that, you know, Scootaloo. I always assumed that they were like closet doors, kind of like a Monsters, Inc. thing. And somehow I saw like a plain wooden door. I'm like, ah yes, that is Scootaloo's orphanage closet.
Oh.
You know.
Don't be mean to Scootaloo. She is best Scootaloo is best CMC.
She is best CMC. She's just also best orphan.
She's not an orphan.
I stick with the headcanons of the fandom in general.
Anyway, there's also all the dream sequences, and by that I mean like the main sections where it's kind of confirmed that it is a dream from Apple Bloom's Twittermite ninja skills, and Sweetie, you can think of one, right? This is where you go and bring up a thing.
Yeah, yes. No, I really loved a lot of the moments, and yeah, I don't know, I just loved it in general. It's all awesome because MLP.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Well, for my grade, I'd have to give the animation for this episode an A+, because it's the best I've ever seen in this season, and that's how I'm grading it, from the effects of each section from this season, and it's the best so far, so it gets an A+. Sweetie?
Yes, I would give it a B+, only because it's sort of become expected of the show at this point, that it's going to deal with us, give us fantastic animation each time, If it started going down in animation quality, I would have words.
I think we all would have words. So, the story. The story was... At the start, it felt a bit long. It just got too long to get into the proper story. They could have... This is very hard, because I don't usually talk about the story. I'm more of a technical guy. So this is the first time I'm talking about the story of an episode. The story felt, for me, a little... At the start, it felt a little prolonged. And at the end, it felt really rushed. Like, the last few scenes were just bang, 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 done. As far as the story goes, but as far as the events that happened in the story, it was exactly what we needed to put all the fears to rest that the CMC could have with getting their cutie marks, or possibly getting their cutie marks, and without making an episode devoted to just one thing, and having it be, like, really boring, to be honest. Sweetie?
I actually think that was a bad thing about it. I mean, I liked the episode a lot, and I liked the way that it handled some things and the way it was going, but what made me sad is it's one of those things that I wanted to happen, I wanted something similar to happen, and because this episode happened, the thing I wanted to happen is never gonna happen. It was nice that they gave me something close, but I did have in my head, well, if one of the CMC were to get a cutie mark this season, then the dilemma that they could have in that episode is their placement in the CMC and whether they'd still be friends even after one of them has gotten their cutie mark. Now, the moral, that part of it has already been addressed, and yet we're still back where we started, where none of them have their cutie mark except for Babs.
That was my dream for a episode where they got their cutie marks. Having one of them get their cutie marks, and then the interactions between the three, and then, like, you'd have it where they'd be doing what they usually do. The problem isn't created by an outside force, it's created by the three of them, and then have either, if it was Scootaloo who got her cutie mark, and the others were doing what they did in the episode, have Rainbow Dash say, hey, you guys are friends, it doesn't matter about the cutie mark. Or if it was Applejack, Rarity, one of those three, because those are kind of like...
Or all three.
Yeah, or all three, because they're the pseudo-sisters in some cases. Actual sisters and pseudo-sister. As far as the grade I'd give it, I'm gonna have to give it a C, but that's my bias showing.
I'm gonna have to... Well, I'll give it a C+. I'll give it a little modifier, because it was a good story. It was just like... It was like getting a hamburger. It's a really good hamburger. It's almost perfect. But then they put onions on it.
But I like onions. Onions are good.
And yeah, it's sort of... okay, I was giving an example of something that most people aren't a big fan of. The point is...
Beetroots.
Who puts beetroots on a hamburger? Okay, Aussies do strange things apparently, so if you get a hamburger with beetroots on it, even if it's a really good hamburger, it's just slightly off which is, I have an OCD about that. I don't mind if things are in chaos, but when they're almost perfect, it makes me sad.
Yeah, like, it was almost perfect, but the prolonged start and the rushed ending is what really did it for me. I didn't mind the fact that they crammed all those things together, but it just, for me, it was just too long at the start, too short at the end. Okay, we're down to the moral. Now, once again, this is a new thing. I've never done something about the moral, but I want to talk about the moral. And you know what? This moral was really, really good. And it equates to most people. Like, the moral was, and I'm going to use the show terms, your cutie mark is you. Whatever your cutie mark is, it's you. And just because you get it, it's not going to change who you are and whether people like you or not. Which is a really good thing to be teaching kids. It's like, it doesn't matter what you get, you're still you, and the people who really care about you won't change their opinion based upon you, unless you do something incredibly stupid.
Yes, indeed. I'd say I love the moral a lot. Again, this is a moral I was hoping that they would tackle. I just hoped it would have been in a different capacity, but, whatever, I'll take what I can get.
I think we all wanted that, like the whole getting it in a slightly different way.
I wanted Scootaloo to realize the meaning of her name. Is that so much to ask?
What's the meaning of her name?
Scootaloo. She scoots.
Oh, yeah. I looking at their dreams, I think they've realized what their thing is. It's just they haven't had that waking realization.
Yeah, and since I didn't mention this earlier, Vinyl Octavia OTP.
Crikey!
They were sitting next to each other! It's canon!
I had to bring the shipper onto my show.
I'm sorry, it was a thing that had to happen. Like, it's one of those things, actually, that at first I didn't realize was extraordinary, because I'd seen them so much in fan art, that it was only afterwards I went, wait, that was a canon show! That was show canon! Those two were sitting next to each other, holy crap.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna give this one a B+.
For the moral, yeah, I'd give it a B+. It was what I wanted. It wasn't executed the way I wanted, but I'm being picky. But I do think
literally our bias is showing, giving it a B+.
Yeah, pretty much. It's about. I would say it's probably an A moral, but I'm gonna give it a B+ because they walked away without any long-term repercussions. I think that's the thing.
Well, the moment I saw in their dream that it was in a dreamscape, I was like, oh, there's going to be they're going to give a really good moral, but there's not going to be much in the way of implications for it, so whatever.
Well, I mean, in some of the other Luna episodes, I don't think Sweetie Belle's did, but Scootaloo's had the long-term continuity of, Scootaloo and Rainbow being Rainbow Dash's adopted sort of pseudo little sister thing. However that works.
Yeah, basically, actually, I think all three will have repercussions as far as continuity is concerned. I think they will go back and reference this, maybe later this season, maybe next season, definitely in the next CMC episode, to a certain extent.
They have been really good at mentioning previous episodes this season. It's almost jarring how much they do so. They're like, remember that time where we had the sleepover? Yes! What a random episode I mean, it wasn't random, but it was just like, yes, we remember that. We've been here. We've been doing nothing but watching the last 4 seasons on loop while you've been gone for 300 days. We remember the episodes.
Okay, on to the last thing, which is the questions. So, sweetie, do you have one or two questions for my lovely, lovely audience?
I've got one. One I now have to ask myself. If one of the Cutie Mark Crusaders had their cutie mark, what do you think would be the setup and moral for that episode?
Ooh. Now, my question, or questions, I haven't decided. I'm doing this off the cuff, like usual. My question is, if you could pick one character other than the CMC to get visited by Luna in their dreams, who would it be, and what would she teach them?
Best Pony.
Best Pony is Pinkie Pie.
Best Pony is Applejack.
Pony is Pinkie Pie.
Applejack.
Pinkie.
Apple.
Pie.
Jack.
Okay, for this episode, my final grade would have to be... I'm gonna give it a C+. No, wait, a B. Yeah, a B, definitely a B.
Well, I wasn't really keeping track of the grades I already gave it. I probably should have and been all nice and given them a nice cumulative average GPA. However, I wasn't paying attention, so I'm just gonna say I'd give it definitely a B+. Just again, this is my bias that I wanted it to be something different. It was still good, but I wanted it to be perfect. And yeah.
Perfect in your eyes.
Yes, it's one of those, like, you give a kid a B+, not because the paper was bad, but because you know that he can do better. That's sort of why.
Well, another episode down, and another episode ever closer to the hiatus. This has been James the Pony Theorist, and...
Sweetie Bloom.
And we just graded Bloom and Gloom with Sweetie Bloom.